got to a point when my dad said, I want wife number 3, a younger one this time. So the question is, why did my mom allow to be the second wife? So baby, dear husband, you are not allowed to take a second wife. I would never allow it. Hello, welcome to My Truth. My name is Lindy Sherries, and if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the family. And for those who've been supporting up until now, thank you so much. You guys are superstars. In today's video, I'm going to share how it is like growing up in a polygamy family. So my mom was born in South Africa and my dad, he's from Mozambique. And I'll just tell you a bit. I know the story I shared before in my video where I talk about how I became a sangoma. So I just share a bit there about the relationship, how they met. So my mom and dad, they actually met at a hospital where my mom, she was a nurse and my dad was a patient. And my dad, being the charmer he is, he left that hospital with that woman. And I'm glad he did, because now I get to belong to 2 countries. So while growing up, it was never a good thing to be a Shangan, and especially to be associated with Mozambique. For some reason, you'll be so discriminated if you say you are Tsonga. Growing up, it never used to be something that I used to be so proud of, that I am a Tsonga from Mozambique. Being a Tsonga, yes, it would be better than they would say, okay, they are from Limpopo, they still belong in South Africa. But then once you say you are a Shangan from Mozambique, things used to get bad for us, especially around primary school. They would just beat you up, and it used to be like that. Guys, I never enjoyed being a Tsonga while growing up. It is now, like when I'm growing up, when things are free, where we can speak freely that we are from Mozambique, and people like us who are half Mozambican, half South African can now relax and be proud to be from Mozambique. So my dad had 3 wives. The first wife, she's still alive, she's still in Mozambique. The second wife used to be my mom, and then the third wife, the younger one, she's still alive and also in Mozambique. So when I say I'm going to Mozambique, I'm actually going to the first wife and the third wife. I love that country. I think Mozambique is beautiful, and people from there, I'm not sure if they do appreciate, they do see. I mean, you do not need to drive 100 kilometers to see a beach, and when you go to that beach, the sand is clear. Have you ever went to Durban and then when you look at the sand, it's not so clear? In Mozambique, guys, the sand is so clear, the water is so blue. So whenever I go there, I get to be so proud to be one of the people who are actually from Mozambique. And I am glad that my dad did decide to take a South African wife so that people like us can belong into 2 countries. My dad came to South Africa in a mission to make money. So most people, they leave their countries because back home you cannot really find jobs. The education part used to be worse while he was growing up. So he came to South Africa to look for employment, and then his story was he used some border gate where they had to cross in some fence and then walk days and days up until they got to Mpumalanga, and then he worked a bit there. He worked for an Italian guy or Mozambican guy, I don't remember, where he used to clean his house and clean his shoes, and then they will pay him money. His mission was to come to Joburg. I mean, that's where the gold is. And then he ended up in Joburg. So now in Mozambique, for everyone who comes from Mozambique, there's usually someone who's already in South Africa who has a house, and then you will all end up in that house, and then you will stay in that house while they are trying to fix the documents, and then they will look for a job. So most companies like Isando or Fontaine, they usually prefer to hire people from outside because those people, they are there to work. They take anything. So my dad worked in a firm in Isando, and for most of his years he worked there up until he resigned and bought his truck and then started transporting clothes and food from South Africa to Mozambique. So I was that child who was always going to Mozambique. I mean, guys, we went to Mozambique during war. Guys, it was hard, but for some reason, every time we would be so excited that December must come. We want to go to Mozambique. So leaving South Africa and going to Mozambique, you were not guaranteed that you will get there alive. But for some reason, we wanted to go there. This is during the war. So for those of you who know about the Frelimo war, and then you would know that it was difficult for anyone to go to Mozambique. But my dad made it a point that we grow up knowing that we are from Mozambique. Yes, we were born in South Africa, but we are from Mozambique. So I am am grateful for that, because now I have these relationships that cannot be broken. So I know my roots back in Pombofu, which is the rural area where my father was born. I knew everything to that. I knew my grandmother. I knew everyone, the family members, how we do things. I just knew, because my dad made it a point that we go back home and know where we come from. So the question is, why did my mom allow to be the second wife to my dad? My mom didn't know. So they went into a relationship. My dad didn't say anything about that wife in Mozambique, because then it used to be their first wife, and my dad didn't say anything. I don't know, up until my brother was born. And it was that time when they believed that when a son is born, when a child is born, they need to go back to Mozambique and actually introduce the baby to ancestors. That's when my dad actually told my mom that he actually had a first wife. So this is what my mom told me, that's how she ended up in a polygamous relationship. So she became a second wife. I guess she told herself that I am in South Africa, the first wife is in Mozambique, so there won't be many problems. But hey, there were problems, guys. There were problems. It was fun for me, because I had two mothers, and then eventually I got to have three mothers, and they didn't discriminate. So we all loved each other as kids. But then their wives, guys, they were like cats fighting all the time. And especially when my dad decides that the first wife must come and visit in South Africa, and then she would come with that mentality that I am the first wife, so my mom as well will need to obey the first wife. So it was just challenging. And sometimes I would sit there and watch my dad resolving some of the conflicts they used to have as wives. Growing up in that family, it was a blessing for me. I wouldn't want to choose any other family. I am glad I'm based there. I have brothers and sisters in Mozambique. They come to my house. I go to Mozambique. I can build a house in Mozambique. You'll never know what might happen in South Africa. You might need a backup house. So maybe you need to start being my friend, because when things go bad, then you will come and stay in my house in Mozambique. So guys, that's how I grew up in that family, and I must say it is a beautiful thing. But then as a Christian, it is not allowed. So baby, dear husband, you are not allowed to take a second wife. I would never allow it. And my mom, towards the end, she said to me, do not go into a relationship where you are a second wife, even if there's money. I know it makes sense, especially for rich people. And I know this guy who's rich, and then he just decided he wants two wives, and he can maintain both wives, and they are not working, and they are happy, and they love each other, so it works for them. But then for me, even if my husband were to become rich, I do not want to be a second wife. I do not want another wife to come into our marriage, because God doesn't allow it. And I am too sensitive. I do not think I would cope with someone else coming and yapping on my ears all the time. He's mine and mine alone. So let me talk about the third wife. So it got to a point when my dad said, I want wife number 3, a younger one this time. So my mom and the first wife, they were old, and then he said he wanted a younger wife. So my dad, he was the type of a person who had girlfriends all the time. So when he said he wanted the third wife, they fight. And you know how wives, whenever the husband wants to bring another one, they start uniting. They no longer fight. They like love each other, trying to support each other. So the third wife came, and she was the same age as my brother, who is a firstborn. So it was just a havoc. And to me, I was like watching and just enjoying watching my dad navigating and wanting to bring this wife. And then she came, and the sad part, he didn't build a house for her. She came and stayed with the first wife, and they just navigated. Lucky enough, wives in Mozambique, they actually submit to the first wife. So she was just submissive and doing everything that needed to be done, and at the same time producing kids, which was good for my dad. So I love her as well. She is one mother I love. So I just love all my mothers. Even though my mom passed away, I still have 2 other mothers, which is the first wife and the last wife. So the first wife used to fight so much with my mom, but then she loved me. Like, I would even say I want to go and stay with her. That's how much she loved me. And even now, we still love each other. Even the last wife, I love her. I just love them. They are my family, and I just love them. So guys, that's the family that I grew up in. And one day I'll get to go to Mozambique and then do a vlog all the time. Guys, I will do a vlog from Joburg to the border gate, to where we stay, to the bushes, to the farms, everywhere, to the rivers where we catch fishes, everywhere, to the stadium, to the schools. Guys, Mozambique is a beautiful country, especially when you stay there. So thank you guys for watching, and that's how I grew up. At least you know something about me, and I am grateful, guys. Please do share if you are from African countries, and if you did grow up in a family where there was just 2 or 3 wives, how did you manage with that? So for me, it was normal. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and also comment. Love you guys. Take care.